Hello students, welcome to Gangs of Toppers. In this class, we are going to deal with an important chapter, that is Europe. In this chapter, we will study about location, political division and the physical future. Now, first topic is about location and the physical division. Europe. Europe has been often be called as the dynamic continent. So this is a very important question. Why Europe has been called as a dynamic continent? Why? Because it has always been a home of inventions, discoveries and the rapid rate of progress. So here we have a 3 point. First one is about the invention. First one is about the invention and second one is about the discoveries. You can say that discoveries, inventions and the rapid rate of progress means talking about that they have a good lifestyle, means that's why Europe has been called as a dynamic continent. So why? Once again, Europe has been often be called as a dynamic continent because it has been a home of inventions, discoveries and the rapid rate of progress. Okay, now although a small continent, means although we know that Europe is the second smallest continent, so it can be asked a question in exam that Europe is the second smallest continent. Okay, so since a small continent, Europe is made up of how many countries? It is made up of 44 countries. Since it is small, but it is made up of how many countries? It is made up of 44 countries. Okay, with the largest being the Russia. So out of these 44 countries, the largest state or largest country is Russia and the smallest state is Vatican City. So it can be an inside question also. In Europe, which country is the largest and which country is the smallest? So the answer will be that Russia is the largest country and Vatican City is the smallest country. Now, it is a part of a giant supercontinent Eurasia. So we have to understand that this Europe is going to be what? Is a part of Eurasia. So what is first understand what is Eurasia. First of all, we know that Europe is a continent and Asia is also a continent. Now after adding, means after Europe, means we are adding Europe in Asia, it become what? It become as Eurasia. It become as Eurasia. So after, because we know that Asia is the largest continent, and Europe is the second smallest continent. After adding this, the Eurasia, it becomes at Eurasia. So we call this largest part. After adding this Europe and Asia, it becomes a large part of continent that is called as Eurasia. And Europe is a part of this Eurasia, that is called as, it is a part of giant supercontinent. But we study Europe as independent. Why? Because why? Because of its distinct physical feature and the population. So since Europe is a part of giant supercontinent that is Eurasia, but we study Europe as a separate continent because of its distinct physical feature and the population. आई थिंक बच्चों यहां तक आपको समझ में आ रही होगी. आगे देखते हैं. Since the past few centuries, if you talk about the past few centuries, now if you talk about the Europe has influenced us from the very past centuries. We can talk about the 500 or 600 years back. The people of these countries have influenced the world politically, economically and culturally. So we have to understand that these people, since the past few centuries, Europe has influenced the world politically, economically and culturally. Okay, now how we can say that the people of Europe has influenced the world politically, economically and culturally? Because it started with the European explorer, traders and the religious missionaries. Means the people involved in influencing the world, we can say that about the European explorer, traders and the religious missionaries, spreading through their thoughts and the beliefs to the distant world. Okay, now since then, the Europe has led the world with its modern and advanced scientific discoveries and the technological inventions. Already studies as the chapter started, it is called a dynamic continent. By the Europe has, by its modern and advanced scientific discoveries and the technological inventions, Europe has led the world. Okay. Now Now in the next topic we are going to study about the location and the extent. Now, Europe is the westernmost peninsula of giant supercontinent Eurasia. Means if you talk about the giant supercontinent Eurasia, Europe is actually lying in the westernmost. Europe is going to lie in the westernmost part, and it is actually Europe is itself a peninsula. Europe is itself a peninsula. You can see that this is Europe, and it is lie in the westernmost part of supercontinent that is Eurasia, and it is actually it is actually a what, surrounded by water on the three sides. You can say that you can say here is a Norwegian Sea, here is Atlantic Ocean, and here is a Mediterranean Sea. So if any land is surrounded by water on three sides, these lands is called as peninsula. So Europe is itself a peninsula. Europe is itself a peninsula, okay, and it is a part of supergiant continent Eurasia. And you already studied that Europe is the second smallest continent in the world. So it can be a question that Europe is the second smallest continent in the world. Now we are going to study about that is it lies entirely in the temperate zone of the northern hemisphere. So now I think you have studied that in the globe. Suppose this is a globe, and I think this is equator. This is our tropic of Cancer, and this is our Arctic Circle, and this is our tropic of Capricorn, and this is our Antarctic Circle. And the reason between the tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere, sorry, that region is called as the temperate zone. That region is called as a temperate zone. So actually this Europe is going to lie. This Europe is going to lie in the temperate zone in the northern hemisphere. That is suppose here. Now if you talk about this latitudinal extent, that is about from 36° north to 72° north latitude, and if you talk about the longitudinal extent, that is from 25° west to 60° east longitude, okay. Now if we talk about the extension, that is it extends from the Iceland, that is in the west, to the Ural mountain in the east, okay, and okay, up to here, okay. Now what we have studied up to, that is first we have studied that it entirely lies in the temperate zone. First we have studied that it is going to lie entirely in the temperate zone. Second, that it extends from the island nation of Iceland, that is here, that is in the west, to the Ural Mountains of the Russia in the east, okay. And about the latitudinal extent, we have studied that it extends from 36° north to 70° north latitude, and about the longitudinal extent, we have studied that it is 25° west to 60° east longitude. Now we have seen that this prime meridian, because this prime meridian is also called as 0° longitude. This prime meridian is also called as a 0° longitude, and which passes through the Greenwich. Greenwich, we can say that it is just like a small city that is near London, from where the Greenwich Mean Time is taken as for the international time. Means we can see that this, you can see here is London, okay. So this London, from this Greenwich Mean Time, that is from the Greenwich that is in London, it is considered as our reference point. It is considered as a reference point, and this reference point is also called as universal time coordinate. This also called as universal time coordinate, okay. So it is taken that this universal time 0° is taken as a how much, that is taken as a reference point for the international time, okay. Now one more important in this regard, we are going to study one important concept, that is if this, suppose this is Greenwich Mean Time, this is passing through London, okay, and this is taken as a 0° reference, and we know that India lies here. So and the Indian Standard Time is taken at what, that is Indian Standard Time is taken at 82.5° east, okay. So suppose here, okay. So we are talking that we know that Earth rotates from west to east. So if we have to understand that this 0° is considered as a reference, so from the Greenwich Mean Time, India's time is how much time, that is ahead, that is about 5 hours 30 minutes. Okay, we have to understand this one. So how it comes, okay. So I think you have already studied that Earth rotates from west to east. Okay, understand the concept, because I want to see that why the time of India is ahead by about 5 hour 30 minutes. Okay, why? So we know that Earth rotates from west to east, and it takes 24 hours in order to complete one rotation. In order to complete one rotation on its axis. So suppose it takes 24 hours in order to complete 360-degree rotation. So in how many, suppose we are going to multiply into 60. It comes as 60 minutes is equal to 360 degree. So in 1 minute, how much will come? It come as how much? Means suppose if 24 hours it takes 360 rotation. So we have to apply unitary. We are going to apply unitary method. Okay. That is in 360-degree rotation. It takes how many minutes? That is 24 hours. So in 360-degree rotation, it takes how much minute? That is 24 into 60 minutes. So for 1 degree rotation, it takes how many minutes? That is 24 into 60 divided by 360 degree. If you are going to 4 means 4 degree. Means for the earth to rotate 1 degree, it takes how many minutes? That is 4 minutes. Okay. So we have to understand this one, that for 1 degree rotation, earth takes 4 minutes. So from earth want to rotate from here to here, so it takes how many minutes? Then it will come as 1 degree takes 4 minutes. Then for a rotation of up to 82 and half, it takes how many minutes? That is 82 into 1 by 2 into 4 will come as how much minute? It will come as what? 330 minutes. And if we convert this minute into hour, it will come as how much? That is 5 hour 30 minutes. From here we conclude that Greenwich Mean Time, from the Greenwich Mean Time, this is from the Greenwich Mean Time, India's time is ahead about 5 hour 30 minutes. Okay, this is only a concept related to the international time, that is international standard time to with respect to the Indian standard time, that is universal time coordinate. We can say that how much time is ahead from the universal time coordinate. We only go through the concept. Okay, now the northernmost point of the main Europe is located at the Cape Nordkin. So this is very important. That is the northernmost point of the mainland Europe is located at the Cape Nordkin. I think we can go through the map also. This is the Cape Nordkin. Okay, Nordkin. We are talking about this. This is the northernmost point in the mainland of Europe. Okay. So the northernmost point of the mainland Europe is located at Cape Nordkin on the Nordkin Peninsula. So you can see that this is the Nordkin Peninsula, this is the Nordkin Peninsula, and this is the northernmost point. And what is the point name? You can see here, that is this is, we are talking about this area. Okay, so what is the area? That is the area name is what? This is called as Kinaro Den. What is called as Kinardon? That is on the Nordkin Peninsula. But sometimes that is North Cape. That is sometimes the North Cape is located at 71 degree north and 25 degree east longitude. Means 71, 25. Means we are talking about this area. This we are talking about this north. Okay. So we are the longitudinal extent is a what? The longitudinal extent we talk about, what is this? It is about 71 degree north, 71 degree. It is about 71 degree north and 25 degree east longitude. So this is considered as the northernmost point. Okay. Now understand the concept that, but sometimes this North Cape. Once again, you understand this North Cape is located at 71 degree north to 25 degree east longitude is taken as the northernmost point, where the midnight sun can be seen from 14 May to the 31st July. So we can understand that someday why it is possible that the midnight sun can be seen within these area, because due to the inclination of the earth, the sun's ray, that is a sun's ray during the summer, that is considered, then most of the ray is passing throughout the day and night. The sun's ray is actually falling on this area, so that's why it is called as the midnight sun can be seen from 14 May to 31st July. Okay, are you getting? Now Next concept is about the political division. The political map of Europe has changed considerably since the unification of Europe and unification of East and the West Germany. So if we talk about the political division, before 1990, the map of Europe was different. But after 1990, due to some changes seen, that is unification of East and the West Germany in 1990s. So what are the changes in? First one is about unification of the East and the West Germany, that is 1990. And second one is about the integration of the former USSR, and the third one is breaking up of Yugoslavia in 1991. So we have to understand this concept. After this happening, the map of the Europe has changed. Now Europe is sometimes described as peninsulas or peninsula. So this is very important concept, that it is also described as peninsula. So we can see here, we can find so many peninsula. Okay, look here, we are talking about this. This is Europe, and we can say this is a Iberian Peninsula, this is a Iberian Peninsula, this is the Italian Peninsula, this is the Balkan Peninsula, this is that is Anatolian Peninsula. Okay, this is the Crimean Peninsula, this is the Scandinavian Peninsula, here is also peninsula. Okay, so due to this reason, Europe is considered as a peninsula or peninsula. Okay, this is a very important concept. You have to understand the concept that why Europe is considered as a peninsula because it has many peninsula, because this surrounding, you can see this is about are you getting? Here we can say this is a peninsula, this is also peninsula, this is also peninsula, here is also peninsula, here is also peninsula. So all are peninsula. So Europe is at sometimes described as the peninsula. And now the concept comes. So that is, what is peninsula? Peninsula is a piece of land. Peninsula is a piece of land surrounded by water on the three sides. Peninsula is a piece of land surrounded by water on the three sides. Okay. Now next topic is about at present Europe's political divisions. We are going to study about the Europe's political division. First one is Europe's political divisions are follows. A Scandinavian, that is, this is a Scandinavian countries includes Norway, Sweden and the Denmark. So first topic is about the Scandinavian countries. First one is about the Scandinavian countries. So it includes Norway, Sweden, Denmark. Okay, so we can see the location, that is Sweden is here, Norway is here and the Denmark is here. Okay, so these countries include, Scandinavian countries include, that is Norway, Sweden and the Denmark, and sometimes that is this Iceland and the Finland is also included in this region. So we have to understand these five region is considered as the Scandinavian countries. Okay, and together these five countries are also called as the Nordic region, and they are united by the economic factors. So you have to understand that these five countries are going to be united by the economic factors, means there is a free trade agreement. You can say that there is a free trade agreement, and that's why they are united by the economic factors. Second point is about what? Second point is about the Western Europe. It includes the United Kingdom. Now second point is about the United Kingdom. Okay, so we find that United Kingdom, France, Low countries and the Benelux countries. Okay, so we can find that is this, we are talking about this Western Europe. So it comes under this. This is the United Kingdom. This is the United Kingdom, and here you can find this is the Benelux country. Okay, this is the Benelux country. So it includes United Kingdom and the France. Here is a France. So France, that is France and the Benelux countries. So we are talking about this is a Western Europe. This is the Western Europe. It includes United Kingdom. This is United Kingdoms. After this is France, and this is the Benelux countries. United Kingdom is a part of British Isles, which comprises more than 60,000 to 6,000 islands. So you have to understand that United Kingdom is actually a part of British Isles. Okay. So United Kingdom means actually it is a part of what? It is a part of British Isles, and this United Kingdom comprises more than 60,000 islands. So we can understand that more than once again you read this concept, that is United Kingdom is a part of British Isles which comprises more than 6,000 islands. Okay, so we are going to this, what is British Isles? It has more than 6,000 islands, and out of this island United Kingdom is a part of British Isles. Okay, are you getting? Now United Kingdom include the main island, that is Great Britain, and the Northern Ireland. So we have to understand that United Kingdom is going to have, this is the main Great Island. This is the first one. we are talking about this area. This is the Great Britain. This is the Great Britain, and this northern part. This is the northern part. That is Northern Ireland. It is this northern part. This northern part of Ireland. That is the Northern Ireland plus the main Great Britain. This is the mainland. That is the Great Britain. Is called as the United Kingdom. It's called as the United Kingdom. And Great Britain include the Scotland. Great Britain is going to include, now if you are further going to divide this Great Britain, it includes Scotland, England and the Wales. Okay. So we have to understand that United Kingdom is actually a Great Britain. This is the Great Britain and the first northern part of Ireland. These two compromise. This two is going to form a United Kingdom. And this further we are going, if further we are going to divide this Great Britain, it is going to further divide into Scotland, England and the Wales. Now if we talk about this Ireland, Ireland is going to be divided into two divisions. That is the southern part of Ireland, that is called as the Republic of Ireland, and the northern part of Ireland is the part of the United Kingdom. Already studied. Now if we talk about the Benelux countries, now we are going to study about the Benelux countries. That is Benelux countries. This is the called as Benelux country. The countries of Netherlands, Belgium and the Luxembourg are known as the Low Countries. So we have to understand that what is Low Countries. Low Countries are basically it is basically below the level of sea level. Means it is the area that is below the sea level. The area, it is talking about the area. It is talking about the area that is below the sea level. Okay. So we are talking about the area that is below the sea level and that does not have mountains and the hills. Okay. So we have to understand what is low countries. These are the area that are below the sea level and that does not have mountains and the hills. Such type of the areas are such type of the countries are called as low countries. So under this low countries, we have to remember the three names. Only Benelux, we have to remember only Benelux. B stand for Belgium, NE stand for Netherlands, and LUX stand for what? Luxembourg. Okay. If you are seeing the location, that is this part, this top part is called as the Netherlands, and the below this is Belgium, and this part is called as Luxembourg. This map is actually locating here. Okay. Now, because they are made up of lowlands. So now what is lowland? Actually a part of this is below the sea level. Okay. Now these three countries are also called as Benelux because B stands for Belgium, already studies. Netherlands, that is or NE stands for Netherlands, and LUX stands for Luxembourg. Now again you have to remember that neither means low. Neither means what? Low. So it is called as Netherlands. Hence it is called as Netherlands. And the part of Netherlands is going to lie below the sea level. That's why we call it a low country. Okay. And Netherlands is also called as a Holland. So we have to understand this. Why Netherlands is called as Holland? Netherlands is also called as a Holland. So this can be a question that Netherlands is going to call as what name? That is Holland. Now, second point is that about the Southern European. That is also called as the Iberian Peninsula. That is also called as this. We are talking about this area. This is called as Iberian Peninsula. It is located in the extreme southwest of Europe. If you talk about the direction, this is our direction, and this is actually we are talking about that is the southwest. This is actually the southwest. So it is actually the southwest of Europe and include the sovereign state of Spain. We are talking about this Spain. After that, Portugal, Andorra, and the part of France, as well as the British overseas territories of the Gibraltar. You can say here is a small territory that belongs to the Britain. So we call it the British overseas territory of Gibraltar. Now we have to understand that there is also a state of Gibraltar. This is going to connect the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. Okay. Or you can say that this state of Gibraltar is going to separate Europe and Africa. So this is very good concept. Okay. So once again we are going to this topic, that is Iberian Peninsula. This is actually lying in the extreme southwest Europe. This is going to lie in the extreme south of Europe, and it includes the Spain, the Portugal, the Andorra, and the part of France, and the overseas territory of Gibraltar. Okay. Now, second one, we are talking about this Italian Peninsula. We are talking about this Italian or the Apennine Peninsula. It is located in the south of Europe. It is going to locate in the south of Europe and contains the state of Italy, San Marino, and the Vatican City. So we have to understand that in this Italian Peninsula, which country is going to locate it? That is, we find Italy and the San Marino and the Vatican City. Now about the Central Europe, if you talk about the Central Europe, it includes Germany, Switzerland, Australia, that is Austria, Poland, Hungary, and the Czech Republic and the Slovakia. These are going to be located in the Central Europe. Now about the Balkan state, if we are going to study about the Balkan state, what is this? These the countries on the Balkan Peninsula on the southeast of North Europe, that is the Southeast Europe. We are talking about the southeast. So it is actually lying in this area. This is the southeast. Okay. So the country, because we know that Balkan, there is a Balkan Peninsula. The countries on the Balkan Peninsula, that is in the southeast Europe, include, that is Serbia. We can find that is Serbia. After that Albania. After Bosnia and Herzegovina, Bulgaria. We can find Bulgaria. After the Croatia, this is the Croatia, and the Greece, we can find Greece. Kosovo, we can find Kosovo. After the Republic of Macedonia, okay, and Romania, we can find Romania, and Slovenia, and the Turkey. Okay, these states, these countries comes under the Balkan Peninsula. This country is going to come under the Balkan Peninsula. Now after that, we are going to deal about the Eastern Europe. We are going to study about the Eastern Europe. That is the Baltic state. The largest country of Russia that lies partly in the Eastern Europe. So we can see that the largest part of Russia is entirely lying in the Eastern Europe. Is going to lie in the Eastern Europe, and the partly in the Asia, that is separated by the Ural Mountain. We know that the Russia is a country that is some part of Russia is going to lie in the Europe, and some part of Russia is going to lie in the Asia. And it is, from here we can conclude that this Ural Mountain is going to separate Russia and the Europe. Earlier, Russia was a part of USSR. We know that earlier Russia was a part of USSR. What is the full form of USSR? That is Union of Soviet Socialist and the Republic. So you have to remember this, and that is what is the full form of USSR. That is Union of Soviet Socialist and the Republic. So earlier Russia was a part of this USSR, which was broken in 1991. 1991 it was broken, and it was further divided into how many? That is, it was divided into 14 other independent countries. 9 of these countries, so we have to remember 9 of these countries are in Europe, and these are Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. So in 1991, what is going to happen? This USSR is going to be divided. This is USSR is going to divide it into how many countries? This is going to divide into 14. And out of this 14, that is 9 belongs to Europe, and that is remaining 5 is belong to Asia. So these countries, 9 of these countries are, what is it? That is Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. And this is what to understand. This is Estonia and Lithuania and Latvia. That is the bordering the Baltic Sea. We are talking about this. This is the Baltic Sea. And we are talking about this country. We are talking about this country, that is Estonia, Latvia, and that is Lithuania and the Latvia. That is bordering the Baltic Sea, and these are known as a Baltic state. We are talking about this area, okay. And here is a Baltic Sea. So that's why the bordering sea is a Baltic state. That's why this country is known as a Baltic state. And the country comes under the Baltic state is Estonia, Lithuania, and the Latvia. Okay. Now we will study something about the European Union. We are going to study something about the European Union. The Association of European Nations is known as European Union. So association means you can say that a group. Association means what? A group means we can say that it is a group of European nation, and that is known as the European Union. Is a political economic union organization. So what is European Union? It is actually a political and the economic union organization that consists of many countries in Europe. So we can say that it consists of how many members? It consists of member countries is how many? That is 28 members countries. After Brexit, it contains only 27 members. Okay. Once again, go through the topic, that is European. It is association. The association of a European nation is also known as a European Union, and it is a political and the economic union organization and consisting of many countries in Europe. The European Union came into being in European Union When it was formed? It was formed on 1st November 1993. So you have to understand that this European Union is going to form on 1st November 1993 by the Treaty of Maastricht. By which treaty? By the Treaty of Maastricht. And it earlier it has 28 members, but now it has 27 members. After the Brexit, it has only 27 members. And what is the purpose? Means we are going to study about the what is the person behind the formation of this association that is known as European Union. First one is that it was formed for the purpose of achieving political, economic integration and reducing the trade barriers and increasing cooperations among the members. So we have to understand that what is the purpose. First one is about the political and the economic integration. First one is about political and the economic integration. Second one is about the reducing trade barriers, and the third one is about increasing cooperations among its member state. So we have to understand that first one is what? First one is about the achieving political and the economic integration. Second one is about the trade barriers, means reducing the trade barriers, and third one is about the increasing cooperations. Okay. Now, besides the protection of natural environment, the exploitation of the alternate natural energy, that is means besides the protection, means though they are protecting the natural environment, they need a alternate energy source. So they need a vision, they need a vision, or they need a core vision for the development. So this is also a reason for the formation of European Union. Means the need to explore a new alternate source of energy is a core vision for the development of Europe, and that vision comes under these European nations. Now, European nations were the first to embrace and ratify the followed international agreement for the greenhouse reduction. So you can understand that this European nation is going the first countries that are going to ratify and follow the international agreement for the greenhouse reduction. So this is very important that these are the countries they follow the first international agreement on greenhouse gas reduction. Now, I think up to here everybody is getting. Now, traditional agreement and manufacturing are now. Because we know that if you talk about the traditional agreement, if any person is doing traditional agreement, then they are working very hard, but the result is very less. Why? Because they are hardworking, but they are not following smart work. So they actually, in order to increase the production, these countries are making that this traditional agreement and the manufacturing are being phased out. Means they want to remove this traditional agreement and the manufacturing with the new advanced technology solution. By how? With the new advanced technology solution. Why? Because in order to increase the production. So how it is possible? It's possible because due to the formation of European Union. Okay. Now, its transportation and the communications infrastructure is being among the most efficient. So now, because we have already studied that in order to achieve the economic integrations, they need a good transport. And the communications. Okay. And the last one is about the Europeans has a vision of peaceful society with a high quality of life. So we have to understand that these European nations want a vision. These European nations has a vision of peaceful society, means they want to live a peaceful society with a high quality of life, means with maintaining a high quality of life, which they have achieved successfully, because we know that these European countries are the developed countries. These European countries are the developed countries. Now we are going to study about up to here we have already studied about the locations. We have already studied about the location. Second point, we have already studied about the political division. Now in the third point, we are going to study about the physical division of Europe. So before starting the physical division of Europe, you have to understand you are going to understand at this topic, that is Europe is the second smaller continent. So you please remember this, because this can be an inside question, that Europe is the second smallest continent. Second one is that it thrice the size of India. If we compare the size of India, if you are going to compare the size of India and the size of Europe, the size of Europe is 3 times more than the size of India. Okay, it is approx. And the total countries, if you are going to divide, has total country of 44. It is how many countries there? It has 44 countries. And the largest country, the Russia, already studied largest country, the Russia, and the smallest country, the Vatican City. Okay. Now, after going through this physical feature, we will see that the highest peak is the Mount Elbrus, that is about 5,642 meter, and the lowest point is the Caspian Sea, that is about 28 meters below the sea level, and the longest river is the river Volga. So we have to understand, you have to understand these three, this point. Okay, this can be inside question. Okay, now let's start. Europe has a great internal variety of landforms, because now we can see that Europe has a great internal variety of landforms. We will see that Europe has a great internal variety of landforms. Okay, and overall the European terrains display a north versus south. So we will see that there is a north versus south. Means in north, that is the arrangement pattern will be different, and in the south the arrangement pattern will be different. So we can say that there is a north versus south, a spatial pattern. So that European terrains display a north versus south, a spatial pattern means what? Arrangement patterns with plains dominating the north. Means we can see that in the north we will say that a plains. In the north we are going to see the plains, but in the south we are going to see the mountain. Are you getting? But in the north, so is talking that with the north, that is with the plains dominating in the northern Europe and mountains dominating in the southern Europe. So we can see that there is a large pattern difference between the northern Europe and between the southern Europe. In the northern Europe we have a plains dominating, and in the southern Europe we have a mountains dominating. Okay, now Europe can be divided into 4 physiological divisions. So Europe can be divided into how many physical division? That is, Europe can be divided into 4 physiological division. The first one is about the northwestern Highland. Second one is about the North European plains, because we have seen that in the northern Europe it is dominated by the plains, so it is called as the North European plains, are also called as the central plains. And after that we will study about the central uplands, means it is above the sea level uplands, and after that we will see about the southern mountain system, that is about the Alpine mountain system and the southern chain of peninsula. Okay, so we will go this physiographic division one by one. Okay, now let's start the topic, that is about the northwestern Highlands. So we can say that the area we are talking about, this area is actually comes under the northwestern Highland. So we'll see that these mountains extend from the east. These mountains going to extend from this is the east, and this is the west part of Europe. So it extends from the east, that is from this is the Ural Mountain, and towards the west, this is that is from the Atlantic Ocean, that is the Atlantic Ocean in the northwest. This is the northwest. Okay, now it includes the mountain system of Finland, Sweden and the northwest Scotland. So we can see that these northwestern Highlands is going to include which mountain system? That is, it is going to include Finland. Okay, after that Sweden and the Norway and the Scotland. Scotland, we have seen that this is a part of Scotland. Scotland, that is a part of Great Britain. And Norway, we can see that here is a Norway, Sweden and the Finland. So these area comes under the northwestern Highland. They consist of sedimentary and the metamorphic and the igneous rock. So you can say these area is having which type of rocks? That these area consist of sedimentary, metamorphics and the igneous rock, which have been lowered by weathering and the glacial erosion. So now, due to weathering and the glacial erosion, the peak of these highlands has been eroded. Why? By lowered, we can say the peak. So this mountain is going to lowered, rounded off by weathering and the glacial erosion, and the mountains tops has become rounded and smooth. We can see that this mountain system is going to be rounded and smooth, and broad valley has been formed by the glaciers. Means due to the glaciers, there is a formation of broad valley. Means in large part of area is cut down, and it forms a valley. Why? Because due to glaciers. Now these are also known as Caledonian Mountain. These are also known as Caledonian Mountain. So these are known as Caledonian Mountain system. It extends from the northeast. This is the northeast. Okay, and this is the northeast, and this is the southwest. So it extends from the northeast to the southwest and forms the backbone of the Scandinavian Peninsula. We can see that this is the peninsula, this is the Scandinavian Peninsula, and this Caledonian Mountain actually forms the backbone of Persian Scandinavian Peninsula. And these mountains can be further divided into following. This mountain system is going to divide into following. Okay, First one is about the Ural Mountains. We have already said this is the Ural Mountain. Okay, these mountain that is going to separate Russia, Asia and the Europe in the east. So we can say that these mountain system or this Ural mountain is going to divide Asia and the Europe. Okay, that is Asia and Europe, that is in the east, and the Ural mountains are very low. You can see that these Ural mountains are very low and much diffused in the south, because in the south we can see that they are actually mixed with the plains. And how much it is distance, it is about, they are about 220 km long. So we have to understand that the length of these Ural mountains is about 220 km. Okay, you have to understand that this Ural mountain is going to form a natural barrier. This Ural mountain is going to form a natural barriers. Okay, so it hasn't made sense to the Europeans eastern boundary there. Okay, so since the Ural mountain is going to form a natural barrier, so for the Europe it considered as a border. Okay, now next one is about the Scandinavian mountain. Next one is about the Scandinavian mountain. A Scandinavian consists of Norway, Sweden and the Denmark. Okay, we have already studied that a Scandinavian consists of which country? That is Norway, Sweden and the Denmark. And in fact, Scandinavia exists on Fennoscandia. Okay, and Fennoscandia include the Scandinavian Peninsula, Finland, Kola Peninsula. We are talking about the Kola Peninsula. Means we are talking about this area. These mountains have been eroded by the glaciers with peaks lowered and rounded. We are talking about this area. So this mountain system, we are talking about this mountain system. This mountain system has been eroded by what? By glaciers. This mountain has been eroded by the glaciers, and it is rounded. The peak of this mountain system is lowered and rounded off. And first one is the Kazulan Mountains. That is a Kazolan Mountains, that is in the Scandinavia. You can see in the map that is, this is, we are talking about this area. This is a Kazul mountain. So due to the glacial erosion through the ages, these highlands have been reduced to sea level. So due to glacial erosion, the highlands has been reduced to sea level, but in some areas still they have stand up masses of mountains. So we are talking due to these glaciers, means these mountain system, the peak of these mountains lowered and rounded off, but some of the area are still stand up as a masses of mountain. Okay, glacial lakes are found in abundance. So we can find that so many lakes are found in this area, and that's why Finland is also called as a land of 10,000 lakes. That's why Finland is also called as a land of 10,000 lakes. So you have to understand that since the glacial lakes are found in abundance, that's why this Finland is going to be called as a land of 10,000 lakes. Okay, now if you talk about the subsidence activities, I think you know about the subsidence activities. I think if you have studies about the that is the core of the earth. So in between that you will see that this is the lithosphere, and just below the lithosphere we find that is the atmosphere, and it is actually actually a liquid rock. Okay, and due to the movement of these rocks, the subsidence activity takes place, and it has created a highly intended coastline of Norway. Okay, which is full of numerous fissure that is penetrating into the land. What is fissure? It is actually a deep inlet. It is a deep inlet of sea that is between the high peaks of mountain. Between the high peaks of mountain, you can see here. So we are talking about there is a numerous fissure. It is a deep inlet of sea that is penetrating into the land and between the high peaks. Okay. So why it is happened? That is why due to the sinking of some part of area. Okay, and so we are talking about this subsidence activity. The subsidence activities has created a highly intended coastline. I think you understand the subsidence activities we are talking about this due to the movement of atmosphere, we can say. So this activity, or due to tectonic activities, you can say that there is a created of highly intended coastline of Norway, and which is full of numerous penetrating into the land. Now we have to understand that is we are talking about the Greenland. Greenland is actually a part of Europe. Why? Because this Greenland is going to belong with Denmark. Okay. Now, second point is about the mountains of Britain. Now we are talking about the mountains of Britain. The Pennines of Britain. We are talking about the Pennines of Britain. That is and the mountains of the Scotland. The mountains of Scotland are made up of old crystalline rock. So Pennines of Britain, we'll see this is the Pennines. Okay, here is the Pennines, and the mountains in the Scotland. Here is the Scotland, and the mountain in Scotland. So these are made up of all crystalline rocks. So you have to understand that the mountain Britain. First one is this Pennine, and second one is about the that is a mountains of the Scotland. They are made up of all crystalline rock. These are glacially eroded one with rounded peaks and have U-shaped valleys. So after this we can see that this area is actually rounded off. This area is having actually rounded off and have a U-shaped valley and have a U-shaped valley. The hills rise almost the hills is going to rise almost at the coast, and such coasts are called as Ria coast. So we have to understand that the hills in this area, the hills in this area is actually at the coast, rise at the coast, and such coasts are called as Ria coast. So you have to understand what is called as Ria coast. The hill rise almost at the coast, and such coasts are called as Ria coast. Now, after this, we are going to study about the Baltic Sea. After this, we are going to study about the Baltic Sea. The highland that is around the Baltic Sea is called as Baltic Sea. Means we are talking about this Baltic area. And the highland, that is the highland around the Baltic Sea. Means we are talking about this. That is the highland. This is the highland that is around the Baltic Sea is called the Baltic Sea. And these are made up of ancient igneous and the metamorphic rocks. And these are made up of these areas, these highlands are made up of ancient igneous and the metamorphic rock, and which have undulating surface. What is undulating surface? Means a area low ups and down. We can say ups and down surface. Wave like a structure like that. Okay. Now we are talking, after this we are going to study about the North European plains. And after this, because we have already studied that there is a large variety between the Northern Europe and the Southern Europe. Because in Northern Europe we will see that it is made up of it is actually a plain, but in the Southern Europe it is actually made up of mountains. Okay. So it is also called as the Central Plains. It is also called as the Central Plains. Lying to the south of northwestern highlands, because we have studied that this is the northwestern highland, and south of this we can see that there is a enormous plain. We can see there is a large plain. This is the enormous plain. So lying the south of northwestern highland, because this is the northwestern highland, and south of this we find a large enormous plain, and the plain extends right across Europe from west to east. That is across from the west to the east. That is starting from the southwest of England. That is, it is going to start from the southwest. That is southwest of England, because this is the southwest. Suppose this is the England. And the England from the England location, it is the southwest of England, and going through the France, the Holland, and after the Belgium, Denmark, okay, Sweden, North Germany, Baltic Oceans. This is the Baltic and Russia, and these area actually forming the part of North European plain. And except in Russia, these plains are made up of sedimentary rocks. So you have to understand that except Russia means except these area. All these areas are going to be made up of what? Sedimentary rocks. And these plains are broad in the eastern part. You can see that it is broad. These plains are going to be broader in the western part, but in the eastern part we see these plains are going to be broad in the eastern part, but in the western part it is a narrow. But in the western part it is a narrow. Now they can be divided. This area can be divided into two parts, because we have seen that this area is going to be made up of sedimentary rock, but this area is not made up of sedimentary rock. So in this we are going to divide Russia into two parts, that is Russian plain, and after that that is west and the mid European plain. This is the west Russia and the mid of the Russia, that is mid European plains. Now about if you talk about the Russian plain, that is, it is mainly made up of ancient metamorphic rock. So we have to understand that we are talking about this. These areas are made up of sedimentary rock, but these areas are made up of metamorphic rock, which is quite long ago seems to have sunk below the sea level, and were covered by the ice sheet during the great ice age. So we are talking about these plain area. This plain area is going to have sunk just below the sea level, and is covered by ice sheet, during the great ice age. I mean, we are talking about millions and millions years ago. This plain area is going to be just below the sea level, and it is covered by the ice sheet. The southern part where ice did not reach, it's called the lowest season. So we are talking about this area. We are talking about this area. The southern part, southern part of this is where the ice is not where the ice is not reached, and these are covered by the loess. So we have to understand the loess is what? Loess is actually a deposition. Is actually a deposition of silt. Deposition of silt. Okay, that is how it is possible. That is carried by wind. Carried by wind. So this area is going to be, this area is actually covered by snow, but the area where the snow does not visit, this area is going to be deposited by the silt, that is carried by the wind. So here the southern part where the ice did not reach, they are going to be covered by the loess. What is loess? That it is actually a deposit. It is actually a deposition of some kind of clay or silt, that is by the cold wind, that is blowing from the north. So the wind is flowing here. So from here, the silt is carried out and it is deposited on this area. Okay. Loess, now if you talk about the loess is a very rich soil of steppe land, because we know that in Russia, in Eurasia, sorry, in Europe, the grassland is called as steppes. In grassland is called as steppes. So the loess is very rich soil of steppes land and is almost black in color. So what is the color of the loess? It is black in color and it is very rich and ideal for the growing with. So we can see that it is very rich and ideal for growing, because black soil is very ideal for the wheat growing, or also can say cotton also. Now after this we are going to study about the western and the mid European plains. So it extends from the marshes of the Pripyat to England. So you can see that it is actually talking about that Pripyat to England, that is we are talking about, this is a Pripyat that is in Denmark. Okay. So the extent, that is it extends from that is Denmark to England, and these plains are made up of alluvial deposit. These plains are going to be deposited by alluvial deposit that is laid down by the rivers and the glaciers. So you have to understand that these plains is going to be deposited by alluvial soil. Okay, how it is possible? By that is carried out by the rivers and the glaciers. The greater part of the plain, now we are talking about the greater part of the plain, is a stretch that is covered by the stretches of sedimentary layers, which gives excellent soil for the agriculture. So we can say this area, means this narrow area, is going to have a deposition of what? Deposition of alluvial soils, and it is covered by the sedimentary layers. Okay, and gives an excellent soil for the agriculture. In some places hills have been eroded. Now we can see that in some area you can see the hills has been eroded and into the basins, means these hills is going to be eroded into basins like in the London and the Paris basins. So there are many plains that is drained by the rivers such as London and the Paris basin, plains of the Lombardy in the innately lowlands of Andalusia, that is in Spain, and after that the Hungarian plains and the Wallachian plains of Romania. So how many plains we have seen? That is first one is London, the Paris, second one is in Italy, third one is Spain, fourth one is the Hungarian plains and the Wallachian plains of Romania. So there are many plains that is drained by the rivers. Okay, the North European plains, now we are talking about the North European plains, is drained by a large number of navigable rivers. So we have to understand that in the northern, because it is in the northern plain, we are talking about in the northern area, northern Europe. So these areas of the plain, so we find a large number of navigable rivers such as river Rhine, Seine, Don, Volga, Danube and the Danube. And the theme is the main rivers of England. So you have to understand that the theme is the main theme is the main rivers of England. After that we are going to study about the central upland. Okay, these are lower than the alpine mountains. So we have to understand these are actually lower than the alpine mountain system. Okay, and they are considered broken remains of old mountain system. So we have to understand these uplands are basically remains of old mountain system called the Hyrcanian system, and these Hyrcanian system that is existed before the Alps was raised. Okay, so you have to understand that what is central upland. It is actually lower than the alpine mountain system, and it is actually a part of Hyrcanian. It is actually a part of old mountain system that is called as Hyrcanian system, and this Hyrcanian system already existed just before the Alps was raised. Okay, are you getting? Now They lie between the North European plains. Now we are talking about the central plains. They are going to lie, means they are going to lie, that is North European plains, that is in the northern Europe, and the Alpine mountain system, that is we are talking this, suppose this is the North European plain, and suppose this is the Alpine mountain system. In between this area, these are called as the central upland. Okay, they extend from the Atlantic Ocean. They extend from the Atlantic Ocean of Spain, that is in the west, through the France, Germany, and the Poland. So we are talking about these area. Okay, they include the following plateaus. We can find as the Meseta, that is in Spain, after the Central Massif, and the Volga, that is in France, Black Forest in Germany, and Belgium, after the Czech Republic, and the Ural Mountains on the eastern part of Europe. So you'll find that these area are comes under the central uplands or the central plateaus. Now, this Rhine and the Rhone rivers flow these areas. So we find that these Rhine rivers and the Rhone rivers is going to flow through the central uplands. Okay. Now, next one is about the southern mountain system. It is a complex region. So we are going to study about the southern mountain system. It is actually a complex region. Why? Because it is affected by the ancient and the most modern orogenic forces. What is orogenic forces? Orogenic process means it is actually a process in which mountains are formed. How? By the compression of tectonic plates. Okay. So it is affected by the ancient and the modern orogenic forces, and that's why we find many old and the new mountains. That's why new means what? Young mountains, river valleys, peninsulas, and the islands. Why? Because of orogenic forces. Because of orogenic forces. And these regions can be studied as follows. First one is about the Alpine mountain system. What is Alpine mountain system? It consists of high ranges, that is ranging over 4,000 meters. So we find that this Alpine mountains is going to have a high range that is above more than 4,000 meters, and which sweep in great curves from west to east across the southern Europe. So we find that this Alpine mountain system is going to be in the southern Europe. Okay, and it extends from west to east. Now these mountains were formed during the tertiary period. Now we are talking about this Alpine mountain system. These mountain systems are going to formed millions and millions years ago, that is during the tertiary period, and these are recent fall. These are recent fall mountains. Why? Because of orogenic forces. And this mountain building movement is known as Alpine system. So why? Because why it is called as mountain Alpine system? Because there is a continuous mountain building movement is done. That's why this is known as Alpine mountain system. And since these mountains are young fall mountain, these mountains have high peaks. And the steep valleys, and the volcanic eruptions are common. That is Mount Etna, and the Vesuvius are the volcanic mountains that is found here. So you have to understand that this why? Because of orogenic forces. Here volcanoes comes frequently, and this Mount Etna and the Vesuvius are the volcanic mountains that are going to found here. The Alps from the center of Alpine system, that is the Alps. This Alps mountain is going to form a center of the Alpine mountain system, and they extends over the Switzerland, Austria, France, Germany, and the Italy. So you'll find that this Alp mountain system is going to extend from the Switzerland, Austria, France, Germany, and the Italy. And this Mont Blanc, a very important Mont Blanc. This Mont Blanc is the highest peak in the Alps. Okay. Now to the west of Alps. Now we are talking about to the west of the Alps. That is to the west of the Alps. That is Pyrenees. That is between the Spain and the France. We have to understand that is Pyrenees. This Pyrenees is going to lie between the Spain and France, and with the Cantabrian mountain. With the Cantabrian mountain, that is at northern Spain. So if you are going to draw the map of this is a okay, we are talking about this area. So it is talking that we are talking about this area. Now to the west of the Alpine mountain system, we are talking about this. To the west of the Alps, that is to the west of the Alps. Okay, that is lies at Pyrenees. That is between the Spain and the France, with the Cantabrian mountains, that is in the northern Spain, and the Sierra Monera, that is in the southern plains. So we are talking about this to the west on the west of the Alps. What is located? That is a Pyrenees. Is located, and that is this Pyrenees that is basically located in between the Spain and France. And this is Cantabria. If you talk about the Spain, that is in northern Spain, the mountain existing is Cantabrian mountain, and in the southern you will find a Sierra Monera. And this Apennine that is going to lie, that is peninsula of Italy. This we are talking about this is the Italian peninsula, also known as Apennine Peninsula. Okay. Now If you talk about the to the east, that is the mountain alpine mountain system is divided into two branches. First one is a Carpathian and the Balkan mountains that forms the northern branch. So if you are talking about this area, Carpathian and the if you talk this area, that is Balkan Peninsula, and Carpathian, that is the north, and second one is about what? About the Dinaric Alps, that is about the Dinaric Alps from the southern branch. Dinaric Alps from the southern branch. Look in the map. We are talking about this. This is the Dinaric Alps, that is, and after that we will find that is Balkans, mountain, and the Carpathian mountain. This is the Carpathian and the Balkans, that is from the northern, and the Dinaric Alps, that is the south. Okay, this is very good. Now, so we are to talking about this map now. 1 second, we take this map 1 second. We are 1 second, you understand the concept here. I'm talking that is we are talking about this. To the west of the Alps, means we are talking about this also. To the west of this we find this Pyrenees. We find this Pyrenees, okay. And to the Pyrenees we find that this Pyrenees is going to divide. This is Spain, this is Spain, and this is France, okay. And this Cantabrian, we find this is there. Here we find a Cantabria. This here we find a Cantabria mountain, that is in northern Spain, and Sierra Morena. You find this Sierra Morena, that is in the south. And Apennine lies in the peninsula of Italy, and this Apennine is going to lie in the Italy. Already we can imagine the map. Now second point is that to the east we talk about to the east of the also we find this Carpathian mountain and the Balkan mountains. Carpathian mountains and the Balkan mountains form the northern branch. Whereas this Dinaric also, whereas this Dinaric also is going to form the southern branch. Are you getting or not? Because you can imagine, you can see in the map itself, because in the east you can find this Pyrenees in the east, and in the west you can find this Carpathian mountains in the Balkan mountains that forms a northern branch, as well as this Dinaric Alps forms the southern branch. Now about the Caucasus, if we talk about the Caucasus, this is the Caucasus mountain, okay. So this Caucasus mountain, what is the Caucasus mountain are located between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. We can find this is the Black Sea and this is the Caspian Sea, and between this you can find a Caucasus mountain, okay. And that is between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, that is on the eastern side of the Alpine mountain system, and this is going to lie on the eastern side of the Alpine mountain system. And this Mount Elbrus, that is in the Caucasus, you can find this Mount Elbrus, okay. This is the Mount Elbrus, that is in the Caucasus. That is what is the height? That is 5,642. That is Mount Elbrus. It's the highest peak in Europe. So this is a very inside question, okay. So Mount Elbrus, that is in Caucasus mountain. That is about 5,642 meter. Is the highest peak in Europe, okay. Now, after that we are going to study about the southern chain of peninsula. So we can find that there is so many peninsula, that this is the Iberian Peninsula, this is the Italian Peninsula, this is the Balkan Peninsula, this is the Anatolian Peninsula, this is the Crimean Peninsula. So there is a chain of peninsula that we find in the southern Europe. So there are three important peninsula, that is between the Alps, in the north and the Mediterranean in the south. That is we find this in the north Alps and the Mediterranean in the south, and between this we find so many peninsula. The peninsula of Italy and the Greece has been penetrated into the Mediterranean Sea. So we can find this is the Italy, and this is the Greece. These two peninsula is going to penetrate into the Mediterranean Sea. And after the peninsula of Spain, this is the peninsula of Spain, is surrounded by the Mediterranean Sea, in this area, and the Atlantic Ocean in this area. And after the Balkan Peninsula, we can find this is the Balkan Peninsula. It is built by the Mediterranean Sea and the Black Sea, because we find that this is the Black Sea and this is the Mediterranean Sea. So we find this is a peninsula also. And these peninsula has a background of what? Alps, because this already studied, it is a part of what? It is a part of Alps. After that we are going to study about the drainage system, okay. The major rivers, that is first of all bring the map of Europe. So we are talking about this. About the drainage system, if we talk, that is the European drainage. The European drainage system can be grouped into three categories. So we are going to divide European drainage system into three categories. First one is about the rivers in the west, and second one is about the rivers in the east, and after that the Scandinavian Highland rivers. The first one, rivers in the west, means we are talking about this area. This is the west and this is the east, and after that this is the Scandinavian Highland rivers. So in the west, we are talking about in the west, that is from the Alpine system. That is from the Alpine system include the Rhone. Include the Rhone. You can find the Rhone. That is river Rhone. This is the Rhone. And after the river Rhine, you can find river Rhine. After that, you can find river Loire, river Seine, and the river Po. This is actually the rivers that is lie in the western part of Europe, and that form the Alpine system. That is these rivers that is from the Alpine system. After that, rivers in the east. We are talking about these rivers include the Russians and the East European rivers like Volga, Don, Danube, Danistras, and the Divine. You can find this area: Danube, Danistra, Don, Volga. These rivers are going to lie in the east of Europe. Now, rivers in the west are more useful for the navigation. So it is very important that the rivers in the west, these rivers are going to be useful for the navigation than the east, as the rivers in the east freeze during the winter. So these rivers is going to freeze in the river, but these rivers is very good for the waterways, or these rivers are useful for the navigation. After that, Scandinavian Highland rivers. The rivers of the Scandinavian region are short. So we can find here is a very small rivers. These rivers are the short and the swift flowing, and hence they are harnessed for the electricity. So we can find there is a rivers and they are swift flowing, and these rivers, the water of these rivers is used for the production of hydroelectricity, and these include the Pachora and the Mazen rivers. Okay, and after that the lakes. Many lakes were formed during the glaciation during the ice age in Europe. So we find that during the many lakes are formed. So due to the glaciation, many ice age, that is during the ice age in Europe, during the glaciations many lakes are formed, and Lake Ladoga, this is very important, this Lake Ladoga, and Lake Ladoga, that is in Russia, is the largest freshwater lake in Europe. So you have to understand that this Lake Ladoga is going to have the largest freshwater lake in Europe, and other lakes include the Onega, that is in Russia, and Geneva, that is in Switzerland. Finland has so many lakes. So once again the question comes that Finland has so many lakes, that's why it is called as the land of 1,000 lakes. Thank you. In this class we have completed Europe. In the next class we are going to complete Antarctica. Thank you.